That's right. Okay, uh, so today onwards, as we know, we are just going to learn about Python and its concepts, right? So, what is Python? First thing, what is Python? So, simply you can see uh, it's a very simple sentence which explain everything about the Python. That is nothing but Python is an interpreted, high-level, general-purpose programming language. So there are three terminologies along with one standard terminology. So we'll discuss about in depth all these, right? And Python is, it has a design philosophy which emphasizes the code reliability with its own, and it's a significant indentation mechanism. So what is the significant indentation and how it become as a code reliability with Python? Why not with others? Because when we are writing program with other languages, the languages are having some kind of blocking mechanism which come up with curly braces, okay, flower braces before the block starts and after the block end, whatever it is. It might be nested blocks or it might be single block, whatever it is, right? So that might give some little bit confusion. So when it comes to Python, Python has a clean and clear pattern, which similar to a paragraphing mechanism in a WordPad, right? So similar to that, and it's more similar to English language. That's why it is very easy to learn, easy to maintain, easy to understood the program what others can try to do with the uh, scripting files, right? So that's the biggest thing. So interpreted, it's a built-in thing. We can learn more about this interpreted in the in upcoming what it is screens, right? High level. Also, we are going to know about the programming language levels and how those are, and what is general purpose. So, how many types of languages are there? What is the purpose of these differences? Right? We're going to learn these three things in depth in coming slides. Right? So next, why Python? So we know what is Python now. Then why Python? Because many people are switching into the Python from the other traditional languages because its nature. The nature is nothing but easy to learn and use. So it's not that much complicated to use. It's a big language. It's like a version. We can say the Python is a version, right? We know that Python is a general purpose language. It's a version. We can use this general purpose language anywhere for anything, right? The case in that situation, if it become as a complex, if it become as a as usual with other complex languages, other traditional languages, it's no matter, right? That's why Python has a difference, that is easy to learn, easy to use. How it become as a as a easy to learn language? Because its manner, or its nativity and its manner is more like English. So we can simply write, understood the program, we can simply write the program, we can simply read and use it. Okay, and it has a what it is, a huge community support. Okay, so the open Python is an open source. Even though the Python has a huge community who can support the Python by providing either package open source packages, or if you have any doubt, there is a biggest team in the market with the open source and paid versions, everything, who can support you to come out of the problem, right? And it has a support from the biggest corporates like Google. Google has acquired this Python uh, uh, in around 2006, I believe, right? So there onwards, Google is taking care of the Python, and it's only the responsible to maintain that stability, maintain that improvements and everything. Google is the biggest thing, and there are other contributors as well into the Python, right? So that's how it is maintained by the top level corporations. And the biggest thing, the second, not even second, it is only the biggest language in Google where they are using to process the data. The second language is Golang. Golang is built by what it is Google itself, and they are using to make the data transformations more efficient, faster than Python. Okay, even though why it became as a second language, because it is a fresh language and it doesn't have that much of community, and it doesn't have that much of what it is the nature. Okay, it's not for uh, Go language is not for general purpose. It's a specific for data transformations and data compressions, server maintenance, such kind of things, right? So next, it has its own libraries and frameworks. So as we know, it's a general purpose language. We have specific frameworks and libraries which can help into the specific domain. If you go into the e-commerce, there are frameworks to build the e-commerce website and go within into that. If you want to go into the artificial intelligence, we have some other frameworks there also to go with. So if you go into the e-commerce, as I said, when you want to develop the websites or when you want to build e-commerce applications or any of the web application, you can use Flask and Django and WebPy, such kind of these three are highest things, and there are so many as well. When you come to the AI and ML, you have TensorFlow, you have PyTorch, you have whatever we are learning, that's the PySpark, right? There are many, there are many things which help you to support. And if you want to go with mechanical, there are matlabs, right, which can helps to design the architectures and check everything and process the things and go ahead with that one, right? So that's a huge stack of libraries and frameworks. And going with uh, as we said, it has efficiency and reliability, readability, and in terms of executor, it is a speed. It has the speed. It is one of the highest speed computation program, because Python works 90% in RAM, not into the disk. In RAM, it will pick everything into the RAM and process there. That's why people might come to say it's a drawback, right? And it has a efficiency because while we are writing the program, we know what we are writing because it's near to what it is. It's near to the English, right? So we know what we are writing, so it has efficiency. We can rely on the program because we know everything, and it has a bug free as well. That's why we can rely on that one. And while it is executing, there is no leaks. There, the engines, the background compilers, the background executors are having its own level of what we can say security layers, right? They won't leak anything, so you can rely on that one. And in terms of speed, as I said, it picks the data and it processes everything with the RAM, right? So it has less problems with IO, and then it becomes as a faster than anything, right? That's how. And when it comes to the biggest branches of the Python is big data, as we are dealing with right now. And the second one is machine learning and artificial intelligence branch, which is going to lead the next decade, right? And the third one is cloud computing. We know earlier days we have physical servers, we are maintaining everything with the physical server, but now is cloud era. So when the cloud era started, the physical servers are gone. Everything is on cloud with a 99.99% on-demand availability, right? And with less cost. That's only the thing with pay-per use. So when this cloud computation was evaluated, it requires a general purpose language which can support every area, every corner of that language. Just a second, guys. Sorry, guys, an urgent call. That's why. That's okay. Yeah. Now. So they want that they want a single language which can be powerful, which can be capable to do anything, and which can touch any corner of the information technology, right? So they choose that Python is a powerful language, and cloud cloud service providers are also providing the libraries to handle the cloud services with Python, right? So if you go with Azure, Azure has its own libraries for Python to handle any part of the Azure system. If you go with AWS, when you create AWS virtual machine, automatically these all Python support libraries are loaded into the virtual machine with the help of cloud control, right? When you go into the GCP, as it's a native control, they already provided all the stuff into you, your VPCs, right? These are the things how they are already providing everything into the stuff, right? So the next one is uh, flexibility. Okay, flexibility is nothing but you can go as you want. That is a flexibility in Python. When you go with the traditional languages like C, C++, Java, or any other things, it has a structured mechanism what you have to follow. That means you have to write a class which can be started with the main function, which invokes into the compiler, and it starts from there. It starts the execution from that main function. But Python doesn't have anything. The way you can write the program, the way it can execute, because it is an interpreted language, right? So the next one, automation. So we know there are too many automation libraries, frameworks, right? Applications also. So we have what it is, we have some framework for automation that is called Selenium, the biggest automation test framework, right? Part of that, we have some automation tools, just like what it is, UiPath, Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere. These are nothing but RPA tools. Okay, we have these all, but how Python is capable to do that? Python has its own libraries, which you can mimic the human behavior on the laptop or a machine. So it can, with a simple steps of code, simple instructions, you can write anything, and it can make the computer automation with the instructions, right? So that's how it is more flexible into the automation as well. And also, before Python into automation, there is only the language which highly in demand for automation tests, that is Java with Selenium. Once the Python enters into the automation, Python acquires the Selenium as well with its libraries, right? Now Python is capable enough to do all the automation with Selenium as well. And it is more flexible to do when you compare with the Java, right? So these are the biggest Python advantages. And why not Python? So there are some disadvantages as well. So every coin has its own two sides, right? So that's how Python has positives and negatives as well, right? So what are the we know about positives, but what are the negatives? There is a speed limitation. In that positives, we read some point that is a Python is um, fastest language, right? But here we are saying again, Python has a limitation, speed limit. Why? Because here we have something just like it is, we said it is an interpreted language, right? Other traditional languages are or converts the language into the binary code, and then it starts the execution. Binary codes are nothing but simple instructions. There is nothing to compile every time. But when it comes to the Python, because of its interpretation, it has to compile each line every time. That's a limitation there. Okay. uh, we'll come to know more about this interpretation and compilation in upcoming slide, right? Problem with threading. So Python supports multi-threading as well, but there is a problem with threading. So somehow when it goes with the complete multi-threading will divide it into the two types of categories. Category one is um, CPU bound, category two is IO bound. What are these categories? So no worries, we'll discuss more about these also in upcoming topics. When we are going to touch the multi-threading, we can deal about this, but just know about this one. So CPU bounds are nothing but when you have the arithmetical calculations or some kind of transformations which can process on the server, process on the processor side. Those are nothing but CPU bounds. When you have file read and write operations at frequently, those are nothing but IO bound operations. So it has a problem with these two kind of threads. Okay, so somehow CPU bounds are utilizing too much CPU. Somehow IO bounds are blocking with IO issues. So there are some exceptions how to deal them, and there are some what it is efficiency as well to make the computation more faster than the regular thing with multi-threading. So we can learn more in depth when we are into the multi-threading concept. That is nothing but parallel process, right? So and this program, this Python, is nothing for it doesn't have anything for native kind of applications. Mean to say, you can write a native application for desktop, you can write native application for server and webs, but you don't have such kind of native support for mobile applications, right? Of course, you can write some kind of what it is embed programs as well, but not 100%, because Python is evaluating its branch into the embed systems as well, but not into the mobile. It has a framework which work as a hybrid, means it's not a native, but it will work as native with the support of hybrid platform, pluggable platform, right? So memory consumption, as I said, it is more intensive with RAM to make it more faster, right? That's why people said it's not a better choice if you have any kind of memory requirement applications, because Python itself is consuming a lot of memory, and there is only uh, remaining part you can only use inside your program. That's a one of the biggest thing, right? And its simplicity. Of course, simplicity is the biggest advantage in Python. Somehow some people will say simplicity is a problem when they are saying, if you are into the multi-language, if you are in the zeal of keep your hands into the multiple languages, so the time when you are into the start, at that time it is not suitable to you. Of course, if you want to become as a programmer, it is suitable to you because of its simplicity. But when you want to grow your hands into other support languages, other uh, or it is other branch of languages as well, it is not suitable because it has its own simplicity natures as similar English. But when you go into the other languages, they have their own structures to follow, right? So that's how you might confuse, you might feel somewhat heavyweight with other languages. So they can say it's a drawback as well as it is a advantage, right? These are the biggest pros and cons of Python, right? Now we are capable enough to answer the questions when an interviewer asks why to choose the Python, why not Python, which applications you can go with Python, or which cases you can suggest Python is better, right? We know when it become when you want to deal with any kind of application, you can suggest Python with its what it is. It's a vast solution, and it's vast what we can say, the package libraries, packages and libraries, right? But when they ask you to say why not to use Python, definitely definitely there will be an interviewer to ask this question: why not to choose Python, right? So you have to say any of any two items from this list. Now, earlier we just come to know interpreted, right? So, and meanwhile, we also come to know the compile language. So what is the difference between this interpreted and compile? Okay, so compile languages are nothing but we can write the source code. Of course, it will be into the what it is in high level language. We can say what is high level language, and uh, we can learn everything in the next slide, right? So just come into this one. We can write the program with the language, whatever the language you can choose, either C, C++, what it is, Java, or any other such kind of things, compiled languages. So what they will do, you have to write the code, and you have to convert the code into the bytecode with the help of compilation. Without compiling, the code will not use. Uh, you cannot use the code into any of the application. You cannot execute that source code, right? So the conversion, the source code to executable conversion is nothing but compilation. Okay, so they can do the compilation process to make that is executable, and they can start executing it. They can I mean, we can pass the input, and then by processing that input, we can get the output as well. This is nothing but the compiled languages. Because of its bytecode while it is executing, it doesn't have any compilation process in time, right? That's why it is a bit faster when we compile with interpreted. What is interpreted? Interpreters are nothing but just programs which you can directly interpret to execute the code. You are not supposed to compile. It can compile in time, right? That is nothing but JIT engine. We can say that JIT engine, JIT. People will say that JIT, just in time. Okay, it's JIT stands for just in time. So what it will do, if you have 10 lines of code, it will take the first line, it will compile and execute. It will go to the next line, compile and execute. It will go to the third line, compile and execute. Infinitely, it can do all the thing. Once it reaches the end, it stops the execution because it is in an end now, right? So that's how that interpreted programs will work. No need to convert into the bytecode. No need to do anything. You can simply place your program files wherever you want to execute it, and you can directly execute the script files itself, right? So you have to be aware of this. Then there is one more thing which is surviving in the market, that is called Git. So somehow people also call it JIT. So there are two terms. One is GIT, another one is what it is, JIT. So it's called GIT, right? Git. It is nothing but version control system. Okay. So we are talking about JIT, JIT. JIT is nothing but just in time process, right? So we have to be aware. Somehow while we are in meetings or while we are in discussion with other team members, they might say, they might pronunciate this also as JIT because it's GIT, not JIT. So we had to be aware. I'm sorry if what it is, if I did anything wrong here while I'm saying, right? Yeah, that's the one. And going into the next thing. So now we are aware of interpreted and compilation. Okay, when an interviewer come to ask some questions about Python, they'll definitely ask, what is the difference between compiled and interpreted? Why compiled languages are more faster than interpreted languages? I mean, compiled applications are more faster than interpreted applications, right? Because there is no in-time compilation while they are executing. That's why it is bit faster. That's why C++ is still in top level to build that embed systems, because embed systems are directly involves into the chip level mechanism. They will directly operates the chips, not on top of that. They are directly integrating. They are directly interacting with the chips, right? With its what it is, it's a bytecode nature. Bytecode is nothing but zeros and ones. We can see in a later point. Zeros and ones are nothing but bytes. Okay, so the conversion of these bytes and bits are nothing but 0 or 1 called as a byte, sorry, bit. When we are going to say a byte, that is nothing but 8 bits, combination of 8 bits, um, 8 length zeros and ones, or nothing but a byte. Okay, and there onwards there are some kind of conversions to convert the process into the size into the GBs and TBs and PBs, right? So the next thing is high level versus low level. So till here we know that what it is, high, I mean, the source code, high level language, and other things, right? We don't know about what is executable, what is bytecode, what is low level. So the levels of code in 3 stages, 3 levels. What are these? The first level is high level program. So these are nothing but traditional languages, what we are saying, Python, C, C++, Java, Fast, these are old languages, Pascal, Fortran, these are old. These are not one. C Sharp, .NET, PHP. All these are high-level languages because we can write the code with English. We can read the code with help of English. We can understand the code how we are framing the statements just similar to the way we are communicating with other human, the way we write the instructions to communicate with the computer. That's why we are saying it is a high-level program, right? So these are nothing but traditional languages, what we are writing. I mean, what we are using to write the programs with high level. And there is next level, that is low level. So these low level programs are more closer to the machine, not more closer with human, right? You can see in this high level block, here we can see triangle. We are just going to, what it is, it's a class to say about triangle. Inside this class, what we are doing, we are just getting the surface of the triangle, right? So, and what we are doing, we are just doing this mathematical operations b into h by 2, and we are returning that whatever the output. So simply we can say what is the process here, right? By seeing the code. But when it comes to the low level program, here you can see, here it is b into h. It might be simple declaration, but when you come into this one, see here, load R1, it is nothing but reference 1 is nothing but B from input. Load reference 2 from H, nothing but input. And now MUL, we don't know what it is, but MUL is nothing but multiplication. Do multiply operation with R1 and R2. Div, do divisioning operation with, I mean, on R1 with by 2, right? And return it. See here how simple it is to learn, it is to read, right? But see here, so it is more closer to what it is, system level. So that is nothing but assembly language. Still, we are writing programs by using assembly, which are nothing but drivers, which are nothing but some other codes, some other chip runners. We know while we are installing that operating system, somehow we can say drivers are failed. Somehow we can say some other communication bridge was failed. That's why the device is not working properly. So these are nothing but assembly codes. Okay, so these assembly codes are more closer to the machine level code, machine level executable code, which are simply converts into zeros and ones. As I said, the byte code is nothing but combination of zeros and ones, right? So the simple instruction to the processor, because processor doesn't have any brain, it has only the transistors which can on and off, which can perform operations by on and off. Zero is nothing but off, one is nothing but on. By taking these zeros and ones in a series, they can come to know how to process uh, the operations and how to respond back, right? So we can see these kind of operations, how they will perform when we are into the bit level operations in our program, right? So we might not go into this assembly, of course. we can go with high level with Python, and we are going to do some kind of operations with bytecode as well in Python with bit level operations. Right. I'll tell you while we are going to deal with this, I'll tell you why this is required in high level program to do the operations on bytecode. Right. I'll tell you everything clearly. If I set the topic here, you will be what it is. You will be in big confusion. That's why I'm not saying why to use this. But I can give you the simple highlight point. That highlight is nothing but what it is, encryptions. What it is, what I can say, security layer. Okay, when you are saving your password while you are creating an account, this is a simple use case. While you are creating your account in any of the social media or any of the application, you have to encrypt your password and store it into the database. You are not supposed to directly store the password into the database, which can be readable to others, right? It's a high level security threat. How can we prevent that threat? We are using encryption mechanism. That encryption mechanism is nothing but bit level operations to convert that human readable what it is, human readable text to machine readable format, which cannot be understood to which cannot be readable, which of course it might be readable, but human cannot understand what a actual meaning inside that, right? That's the biggest thing, right? So next, we know the Python is general purpose, and I said there are some things, right? So what are these some things? Okay, the complete programming languages are two types. One is general purpose. Another one is uh, what it is, specific purpose. What is general purpose and what is specific purpose? General purpose in the sense you can use these programming languages to write any kind of program. You can write the program to do any kind of operation, right? That's the main motto of the general purpose languages. Example, Python, C, C++, Java, C Sharp, whatnot, right? These all are the things. And when it comes to the specific purpose languages, these are also known as the languages, but they built for a specific thing. They will not useful any other. They only useful on that specific purpose platform. Example, SQL. So SQL is nothing but a query language, right? Which we are using to perform operations on database, to read the data, to write the data. We can say simply CRUD, C-R-U-D, create, read, update, delete operations, right? And HTML. HTML is also a language, but it only useful when you are going to design an interface, when you are going to structure the interface, but not for any other programming, right? So, as well, CSS. CSS is nothing but a style sheet, okay, which provides the beautification for HTML. Right? XML is nothing but data parsing. Right? Whatever the data, it doesn't matter. You can take that. You can create a parsing data which can be used into Python to transform. Doesn't matter, but only you are going to use XML to parse the data with its native tags, right? And MD, Markdown, it is nothing but a simple thing, which is more useful to write the documents, right? Which can be converted into any form and it can be present that content anywhere, which is easy to transform the languages, which is easy to what it is, which we can use to provide whatever we require without losing anything, right? What it is, why it is not going clear, right? Somehow this is not going. Just a second. Let me clear this off. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. So now, how to set up this Python and everything. So before going into this level, have any doubts? Just raise your voice for that. I can see some chart here. Krishna. Yes. Yeah, Krishna. What is your doubt?
That's not about this. Sir.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Starting with people.
Okay. Uh, Anybody? Okay, I'll take that as no, and I'm proceeding with this. Right now. So this is a Python installation screen. I'll show you where to download and how to install, but you have to note this. So this box should be checked before going to click on this, right? So, and once you check this, you have to click on this one because it will come up with the fully loaded. When you go with the customized, then you have to choose whatever you want, right? Instead of that, you can go with this because it will come up with built-in code editor with package manager and documentation. Okay, so what is idle is a code editor. Well, we'll discuss about this idle while we are going to discuss about that code editors and IDEs, right? And pip. Pip is nothing but package manager, which how to install packages into the Python. So as I said, it has its own vast source of packages, right? To do anything for any kind of application. So if you want to pull any package which can provide the facilities to you in your code, you can use pip to pull that. Okay, so I'll show you how to use this as well while we are going to work with Python. And the documentation, if you have any doubts, you can go into the documentation and get that easily. That's why I can suggest go with this standard installation mechanism option, I mean to say. Okay, now where to download this all? So in that case, we have something called, so there's an IDE, can go with another one called python.org. So you can simply type Python in a Google to get the Python site. You can see this. This is the organic link. This is the advertisement. Both are same in the end, but see the advertisement will take you into the another site. Okay, don't go with the advertisements. That's why I'm suggesting to go with uh, the organic links. See, it is saying that python.org. If you click on this python.org, see it will take you into the Python site, right? So this portal has option called download, right? So Python 9.6 is a current version. You can download this. If you click on this one, that will download everything, right? Just like this. Done, right? Once it is done, it will not work in my machine because I have already, and it requires, oh, goes, it launches. See, it is saying to upgrade now because I have the Python version, right? It is saying either upgrade or customize the installation. So I don't want, I have that Python 3.9 already in my machine, but the patch is not the same. That's why it is saying upgrade, right? So for you, the screen will appear like this, just like this, right? So I'm going to give the 2 minutes time to download and do this process for you. You guys can start and do it because while installing, you might get some errors and you have to know how to fix it. If you don't have anything, we can go to check the installation process. So you guys can start now. While you are doing this, if you have any doubt, just let me know. I'll help you. Recording on hold. Sorry for that. Okay. So this is a project explorer of this one. So you have that menu and which is already fully loaded with the stuff. Right. Let me take you into the load screen, which can be more flexible to see here. right? So these are the menu options. These are called main menu. File, as we all know, we can go with the standard file operations that can create a new project or a new file or a search file or open file, save, right? These all are the standard. What is the difference? Attach project. So when you are going with one project, if you want to attach any other project as a package into the existing project, that you can go with attachment. This is a high level concept. That's why IDE is more flexible, right? So if you have any recently open projects, here you can see that all list. And if you want to close, you can go with close project. If you want to rename the project, you can do by using this. So all are having its own features, but we had to know this biggest thing, settings. Many of the times you may face the issue with settings. So the settings will allow you to change the settings for your IDE as well your project, right? So here you can see the project Python. You can change the interpreter. Right now I have the interpreter with my machine. That's come up with my what it is, whatever I have created, virtual environment. It has taken that. You can see here is a VENV folder, which is nothing but virtual env support, right? So this interpreter is there inside this virtual env, right? And project structure, whatever the project structure you want to create, you can define that as well. So further process, if we want to add any packages, you can click on this and you can go with the package whatever you want, right? So you can see PySpark package is there. You can simply click on this install to install the PySpark package. But if you want to run the PySpark, you had to be install Spark in your machine. That's why I'm not suggesting PySpark while you are running. Once you are into the Databricks, then only we can go with PySpark, right? As I said, NumPy is there, right? We can install NumPy. So if you want Pandas is there. You can use Pandas by installing this package. If you want to install any web frameworks, just like Django, you have the Django framework here, right? You can install and use the Django framework. If you want to install Flask, you can go with Flask. It's a web framework again. If you want to use TensorFlow for your machine learning project, so TensorFlow is not available here. We had to install that from TensorFlow tools, right? So anything, PyTorch is there. See, you can use it for machine learning. This is a PyTorch, right? What not? We can do anything with this, right? Once we are done with this one, other things will go with other kind of things, just like edit will allow you to uh, operate that edit kind of things. I mean, perform that edit kind of operations. We will help you to view operations. So here, compare with, this is another biggest feature which we are going to use major times in a real-time projects, because you and couple of your team members are working on a same file, that will give a conflict, right? That will that makes you to lose anyone's code, right? To prevent that, you have to compare both files, your file with your colleague's file, to check that the differences and pick which difference you want to keep, right? And navigate is nothing but just go with the inline, where to go, how to go, such kind of things. And code is nothing but it can generate some kind of instructions, it can generate some kind of structure, it can run the code, it can debug the code. Such kind of operations you can see everywhere in this one, right? Refactors are nothing but renaming, right? So any of the file rename, any of the file move, any of the file copy without uh, without keeping the same file name, you can do such kind of things here with a refactor. This might not use every time, but useful. Runner is nothing but run the code, debug the code, right? Watch the code, everything you can. Tools, which helps you to uh, support your language, which helps you to improve your development, right? Version control system, just like Git, what I said. So window, it is about window of this IDE. You can use anything with this window, right? And help, you can get any kind of help from here, right? This is about main menu. Coming into the executors, whatever you can see in this run, you can see in the toolbar here, right? So you can run everything. So this main is nothing but the invocator, what I have, what PyCharm will create while you are executing, where to start the stuff. Okay. If I run this, you can see here in the bottom, there are a couple of things, right? And in the left side, you can see a couple of things. What are the left side and what are in the bottom? Just we can take the overview and wrap up this, right? So project, this is nothing but project tray, which holds all your project files and external libraries, which you loads into your Python project. And you have the structure. This will show the complete structure of the project, what you have and what are the different things you have in your project, right? And favorites. These are nothing but if you have any favorite points in this one, you can go with. So here you can see the breakpoint, right? You can add bookmarks, you can use standard start things, you can use to-dos, you can use breakpoints, anything. So you can see breakpoint with a red dot. You can see the same thing here with a red dot. If you expand this, you can see that line. Main.py with 9, right? I forgot to say one main thing, that is Python file description. So whenever we are going to create a Python file, we have to create a file name with .py. That only defines the file is related to the Python. Otherwise, it will not detect the Python code. It is a mandate stuff. I forgot actually. Sorry, just covered it now. Right now, these all are on the left side. But majorly, we can use project here in this left side panel. And when it is into the bottom, we have so many, right? What are these? So to do will help you to keep to dos in the code. To dos are nothing but what to do in the future in this file. Just I can keep the to do node. Whoever come into this file, they can come to know. Or in the future, if I open this file, I come to know what I need to do. Change this code, actual program. That's enough, right? Why not? Okay. So simple, right? So when you go into this one to do, you can see all list of to dos. You have one to do. What is that? So there is a to do. What you have to do in future. There is a thing. You can double click on this to go there. So this will help you to uh, improve the code maintainability. When you are writing a Python program, this will improve your maintainability, right? And problems. If you have any problem in your code, that will come to say there is a problem. So the problems are different types. While we are going into in-depth code, we can come to know. Let me create one problem here. You can see I just made a simple change here by changing this n, right? It is showing us error. Why? Because Python is a, what we can say, case sensitive language. Okay, so capital A is not equal to small a because it is a sensitivity. It is a capital alphabet, it is a small alphabet. So both are different. That's why here actually one error, but there is one more. That is nothing but warning. You can see all these three here. You can see the same note here. You have one error with two warnings. What are those? Okay, unresolved reference name. So you are using name here, but I am not able to find the name anywhere before using it into the code, right? So it is saying argument name should be lowercase. That is about this. Here we are passing an argument to the function, but it is in a capital. You have to make it as a lowercase, right? And parameter name is not used anywhere. As I said, both are different, right? So it is saying the name case conversion is not good. And at the same time, you have a parameter, but you are not using anywhere in your code, right? Such kind of errors we can see here. So we can improve our code by fixing these all the things. That's why it become as a more sustainable. That's how it become as a more sustainable. I'm sorry. So the next one is terminal. So instead of opening our terminals mean to say command lines and run the code or do our commands, execute our commands, we can directly use our integrated terminal, which is capable to generate multiple terminals instead of one. You can perform multiple operations, right? So I can say the same thing here, Python dash v in this machine. It will respond the same, right? So once we are going into the project, we can see how this virtual envs work and uh, how to play with these virtual environments. Once we are into the advanced Python, we can come to know more about this virtual envs, right? And Python packages. So as I said, you can go into the setup and then you have install, right? So you have a facility here to install the packages, to manage the packages. Whatever you have already installed, those will come here. If you search for whatever you want, right, the package will appear. You can see this. You can see this all, right? All kind of packages you have. You can install that pandas if you want. You can directly hit install here. The pandas will come to install in your machine. You can resize if you want, and you can go whatever the way you want. Okay, and Python console. So whatever ideally we have seen there, the same kind of environment appears here with a virtual reference. If I create a variable name equal to, uh, I'm just going to create, right? So you can see the virtual reference here. It is saying as a string variable with the value Harish Kumar, right? If you want to run this, you can directly drag and drop or simply name the same thing, right? So somehow if you are into multiple lines, you don't know what is the variable it has. So you have that still. So that these are the fully loaded features into this IDE. That's why majority of the organizations suggest to use code. PyCharm, not code, right? Event logs, whatever the operation you are performing on this code editor, the event log will show the progress for that, right? So this is about IDE and the environment setup. So tomorrow onwards, we are going to play with complete Python language level, right? Yeah, we are going to end this session. So if you have any doubts, just shoot me with your questions. Hello.
Yeah, yeah, Rish, no issue. Sure.
Okay, Manahal, thank you. Okay, then, guys, I'll wrap this session. So tomorrow onwards, make sure your machine should be loaded with Python. If you don't have, you better uh, create at least one virtual machine in cloud so that we can proceed with that one, at least, right? So why I'm suggesting, we have to practice. Otherwise, it will not that easy to get familiar with the programming language. We have to practice. If you follow all my instructions and all my way of doing program and all my suggestions while we are doing program, you will definitely get 2 years of programming language experience. Okay, you will survive with that in an interview, in a project, in a company, anywhere with any kind of thing. that I can give the guarantee. Right?
Yeah, I have a quick question actually.
Yes, Surya.
I installed Python 3.9.6, but in my terminal it shows when I check with Python dash V,
Mhm.
it says Python 2.7.10.
Okay. Which machine you are using?
It's a Mac
Mac.
OS
Mac
actually.
and Linux machines are preloaded with Python 2. Okay. Python
Okay,
2 is no more support. So for you, it's better to try with Python 3. The command itself, Python 3 dash V.
okay, Python 3 dash V, gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, if I do with Python 3 dash V, it says Python 3.9.6.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes,
Yeah, I
exactly.
think
You
that
have to
makes
play with because
gotcha.
Mac and Linux machines are preloaded with Python because these operating
Hmm.
systems has a dependency from Python.
Gotcha.
Okay, if you are using latest version of what I can say, uh,
Mac OS.
yeah, latest version of Mac OS
Hmm.
or Linux OS, those are already updated with Python 3.
Gotcha. Sure.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thanks. Nothing from my side.
Okay. Any others, guys? Okay. I can take this as no, and yeah, we can wrap this call. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
Thank
Thank you. Bye bye.
thank you, sir.
Thank you.